Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are undertaking a serious deep dive into an absolutely remarkable set of source materials. We're looking at the full announcement and press kit for the 7th International Africa Festival in Leipzig.
Yeah, and this isn't just, your average event flyer. It's way more than that.
Exactly. It feels more like a meticulous blueprint, a plan for this nexus point where you've got celebratory cultural diplomacy sort of colliding head-on with some really urgent, high-stakes political conversation.
That's what's truly fascinating here, isn't it? And what makes this material so compelling, I think, it's how the organizers have explicitly packaged this immense cultural joy, the Thousand Drums idea, right alongside a profound, sternness and vigilance regarding current societal conditions.
Right.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to rapidly yet thoroughly grasp the full scope of this event.
The 7th International Inter- and Sociocultural Africa Festival of the 1000 Drums.
Scheduled for the weekend of November 22nd and 23rd, 2025. We really need to understand its cultural ambitions as much as its political necessity.
And that subtitle they use, More Than Just Drums, that feels like the first philosophical anchor, doesn't it?
It really does.
We've got the schedule here, 2 days, packed with world-class music, community connection, absolutely. But also, critically, there's this political symposium plan.
Yeah.
And from the notes, it looks like it pulls absolutely no punches regarding the state of migration, polarization, and, the very stability of German democracy, especially with those critical state elections coming up.
Exactly. So it's framed as an act of cultural integration, yes, but it doubles as a defense of democratic space. It's quite something.
And the organizational anchor behind it all, that seems fundamental to understanding the integrity of this event.
It really is. It's driven by Y.I.L.P. International EV.
Which stands for?
Youth Integration Livelihood Improvement Project.
Yeah.
Established back in 2016. And the documents really emphasize its non-commercial, non-profit, volunteer-based structure.
So not a state-run thing, not a corporate festival.
Not at all. This is presented as a community-driven mandate. Built from the ground up, you could say.
And we should probably acknowledge the figures driving this.
Their commitment is highlighted specifically as volunteer-based and tirelessly dedicated.
Which signifies that the entire festival is built on, sweat equity and passion rather than big salaries.
Precisely. And that volunteer infrastructure becomes really crucial when we later discuss the sheer scope of their work, beyond just the festival weekend.
Good point. And a quick snapshot on the logistics, that seems to reinforce their goal of accessibility.
Absolutely. The venue is Garage Ost, right there in Leipzig. And crucially, the festival is free of charge.
Free entry, that's significant.
It is. And furthermore, the organizers have gone to, meticulous lengths, it seems, to ensure it is entirely barrier-free.
Barrier-free access, too.
Yes. This commitment to removing physical and financial barriers. It's like the first concrete manifestation of their wider philosophical goal. True, unhindered integration and cultural sharing. You see it right there in the basic setup.
Okay, so if we're going to dive deep, we really have to start at the core philosophy, don't we? The credo. The thing that justifies the name 1000 Drums, more than just drums.
Definitely. And this statement, it isn't just marketing fluff. It's presented as a genuine mission statement.
A declaration, almost.
It is. A profound declaration, actually. A statement of universalism. They quote Damien Belando of Ensemble and de Lupina.
Ah, yes, I saw that quote.
It says, "The drum knows no countries, no borders, no color of skin. It speaks the language of the heart and unites the peoples peacefully."
Wow, that's powerful. It's basically the direct antithesis to the political polarization they're going to address later, isn't it?
Precisely. It posits rhythm in music as this higher unifying language, something that transcends national and racial divisions, a common ground.
So if the drum is the symbol, the unifying tool, what are the specific actionable goals of Y.I.L.P. according to the documents? Because this isn't just feel-good idealism, right? Their objectives seem very targeted, very strategic.
Exactly. They are aiming for tangible societal change. First, the sources say they focus on reducing stereotypes and fostering cultural participation among the wider Leipzig community, getting everyone involved.
Okay, breaking down barriers there.
Second, and this is crucial, they focus specifically on the integration of Black, Indigenous, and people of color BIPOC. They're actively seeking to create a space where the diaspora is seen, heard, and celebrated on its own terms.
And the sources also frame this as an effort to expand and vitalize the Leipzig cultural landscape itself.
Yes, and injecting pluralism and, importantly, intercultural competence into a region that, well, by their own admission and other sections of the material, really needs it.
So it's a two-way street, enriching Leipzig while serving the diaspora.
Absolutely. And while they enrich Leipzig, they simultaneously serve the African diaspora communities. The festival is engineered, designed to be a safe space for peaceful gathering.
Which must be incredibly important.
It is. It's presented as a critical avenue for connection, for reunion, and for networking, linking local, regional, and international artists. They are fostering a sense of belonging and continuity for communities often fragmented by migration.
You know, I think many listeners might assume the festival is the full extent of YILP's work. But the source material makes it really clear that the festival is just the most visible, maybe the most high-energy output.
That's a key point. Their statutes, according to these documents, mandate broader year-round efforts, providing practical, necessary support for successful integration in Germany.
Practical support. What does that look like on the ground?
Well, the scope of their sustained effort is actually astonishing, especially when you remember it's largely volunteer-based. They provide essential consultative and helpful services for integration. This moves far beyond just cultural events.
Into life support functions, almost.
You can say that. It covers everything from dedicated development aid, they mention their GAM Kids children's aid projects, to highly sensitive matters like supporting safe return and travel to Gambia.
Wow, okay.
Furthermore, they offer immediate orientation courses for asylum seekers. Very important. But perhaps most necessary, day to day, is the assistance with official processes.
Ah, the bureaucracy.
Exactly. Navigating German authorities, corresponding with doctors, managing all that paperwork. For people who are overwhelmed by the system, YILP acts as this crucial, personalized bridge.
So this quiet daily work is the infrastructure that makes the festival's joyful unity even possible.
That's a good way to put it, yes.
And their dedication to cultural encounters doesn't just pop up in November for the festival, right?
No, they ensure continuity year-round. The sources mention open park meetings, the YILP Festival, and other gatherings. These are specifically designed to bridge the gap between refugee communities and the host communities, often during the warmer months.
Continuous presence, key for integration, not just being an event.
Precisely. Which brings us to a less joyous, but absolutely essential topic: funding and continuity. The sources are remarkably transparent about the financial reality.
Okay, what's the situation?
For 2025, the funding is solely supported by the City of Leipzig's Referat MI18. That's the Department for Migration and Integration.
Only one source, just the city department.
That's what the documents state for 2025. And this exclusive reliance on one municipal department, well, it highlights the organization's fragility, doesn't it? Especially in the face of political budget changes.
Which connects directly to the issues raised in the symposium later.
Exactly, it looms large.
Yet, despite operating under these pressures, they make an exceptionally firm statement in the material. They say they will not allow the project to stagnate.
Yes, they're striving for over-regional significance, even in defiance of what they explicitly term adverse moods and political situations. It reads like an organizational act of resilience, a statement of intent.
And that resilience is paired with clear ambition, isn't it? They mention wanting stronger funding streams.
They do. They're actively seeking to secure stronger funding, particularly from private foundations, they say, to grow beyond their current municipal reliance. The explicit goal is clear: transition to becoming a major European platform.
And they name a specific dream artist tied to this.
Yes, the source material names the dream, bringing the world-renowned Gambian-British kora player Sona Jobarda to Leipzig in 2026.
Wow, she's incredible.
Absolutely. And this isn't just about hiring a famous musician, you understand. It's about signaling to Europe that Leipzig is becoming a leading hub for African cultural dialogue.
And the fact that they couldn't secure her for 2025?
Is presented as a tangible metric of their current financial ceiling, a direct result of the funding situation. It's a very honest admission.
Okay, let's shift our focus now to the physical manifestation of this philosophy, the festival structure itself. The choice of venue, Garage Ost. That seems intentional.
It does. It's described as suitable for a family festival, importantly with open entry and exit. But there's a highly practical detail mentioned, which I found quite telling.
What's that?
The improved fresh air supply compared to previous years. They even name a previous venue, Culture Fabric Work 2.
Huh. That detail, simple as it sounds, speaks volumes, doesn't it? About an organization that learns and adapts.
I think so. Ensuring comfort, safety, proper ventilation that's essential for a large community event. especially one focused on family participation. It shows a real commitment to attendee comfort that goes beyond just basic crowd management.
And they also mention respecting noise regulations for residents.
Yes, they explicitly stress that noise regulations for local residents will be strictly observed, which indicates, a mature, good neighbor policy, being part of the community.
So the daily rhythms, they're structured to maximize immersion, starting early at 1:0 p.m. each day with the African Bazaar.
Right, and this isn't just a market to buy things. It's described as the environment that sets the stage, offering information stands, West African foods and beverages, trade goods like art and jewelry.
So it's the social and culinary core, a full sensory experience right from the start.
Exactly, immediately breaking down cultural distance through food, crafts, interaction, and crucially, the focus on children and family activities right from this early hour anchors the entire event as intergenerational. It's not just for adults at night.
And the sources highlight a specific performer in the family segment, Arlequin, based in France and Leipzig.
Yes, and the organizers are really emphatic here. They state very clearly that Arlequin is not a clown.
Why that specific distinction? What are they getting at?
I think that specificity is key to maintaining cultural integrity and, frankly, high-quality artistic standards. A traditional clown often carries connotations of, maybe slapstick or forced humor.
Right, sometimes a bit simplistic.
Whereas Arlequin, by contrast, is presented as bringing classical pantomime, excellent music, artistic skills, professional disguises, culminating in this spectacle of oversized soap bubbles.
Ah, okay, so it's about artistry.
Yes. This emphasis on artistry and nonverbal communication aligns perfectly with the drum's universal language idea, doesn't it? Aiming for inspiration and fantasy across all ages, without resorting to cliché.
Makes sense. Now, guiding this entire complex 2-day machine is the master of ceremony, Mo Bataille. His resume looks significant.
It is. He's from Gambia, based in Hanover now. A master drummer himself, co-founder of Afro Man.
And his experience goes beyond just performance.
Very much so. The notes mention he achieved national championship titles in Gambia for culture and drama, and he's known for running highly effective percussion and team-building workshops in Germany.
So having an MC with that depth of cultural knowledge and experience in unifying diverse groups, that must be essential.
Absolutely essential for managing the flow of everything, the music, the politics, the community interaction. He acts as the cultural linchpin, holding it all together.
Now, it's important, I think, to look behind the scenes a little at the operational details. They speak to the organization's integrity. The sources mention meticulous planning for ensuring smooth operation and, again, accessibility. They allocate a small total compensation. What was it, €200?
Yes, €200 total, to cover 4 non-member helpers. Just €50 each for the whole week.
€50 each for 2 days' work. That's nominal.
Extremely. But this detail, though minor financially, reveals immense logistical commitment, I think. These helpers manage order, greeting, infrastructure.
And crucial accessibility assistance.
Exactly. For those in wheelchairs or who are visually, hearing, or speaking impaired, that €200 isn't about paying high wages. It's about recognizing the need for structured, non-volunteer assistance for these specialized tasks.
Underpinning their dedication to legal and ethical execution.
Right, while also highlighting the sheer scale of the uncompensated volunteer hours surrounding it. It's a powerful illustration, really, of the labor of love required to keep this event free and barrier-free.
Let's circle back, though, to that shadow hanging over the lineup, the admitted disappointment regarding the 2025 program.
Ah, yes, the postponements.
The organizers were forced to postpone several internationally based world-class artists.
It truly underscores the financial limitations we talked about, the result of relying solely on that municipal funding stream for this year. And the list of postponed acts is, frankly, world-class.
Sona Jobarte, again.
Sona Jobarte from Gambia, UK, the globally recognized kora player. Also, Melissa Haye and her ensemble from Friends Burkina Faso. And the Jafura Band of the Gambia.
The Jafura Band. The source materials seem particularly disappointed about that one.
They state unequivocally that a guest appearance by the Jafura Band would have caused an absolute sensation across Europe. That's strong language.
So the postponement of these specific acts, it really symbolizes the difference between being a successful regional festival, which this clearly is, and achieving that over-regional European platform status Y.I.L.P. aspires to.
Precisely. The ambition is there, the vision is there, the connections are clearly established. They're in communication with artists like Sona Jobarte. But the necessary financial muscle, the funding to secure them, is just not in place yet for 2025.
So this setback serves as a clear call to action, really. regarding their need for broader support.
Exactly. From private foundations, other bodies. If that dream of hosting Joe Barte in 2026 is to be realized, the ability to bring these specific artists represents not just entertainment, but a certain level of international cultural legitimacy.
Which, for now, remains just out of reach.
It seems so. It's a very honest, almost painful assessment of their current limitations presented right there in the press kit.
Okay, despite those logistical hurdles and the funding issues forcing postponements, the musical program they have secured for 2025 still looks phenomenal and strategically chosen, it seems, to span a really wide spectrum.
Absolutely. And the organizers make a point of saying that outside of smaller DJ events, African concerts in Leipzig were rather rare in 2025, which makes this festival a singular, really important cultural event for the city.
And the genres listed cover everything from serious traditional griot and manding music,
Right, through kora and percussion.
into musical fusions and African reggae. It's quite a range.
It is. And this is where we see that credo, that philosophy really come alive, isn't it? It's an active display of African cultural pluralism, carefully curated for both the diaspora community and the wider host community in Leipzig. Shall we break down Saturday?
Let's do it. Saturday, November 22nd. It kicks off with an interactive element, which I like. A free workshop.
Yes, led by Pablo, King of Djembe. He's based in Gambia and Frankfurt. It's an immediate invitation for everyone to participate, not just sit and watch.
And he's also selling drums.
Apparently so, which grounds the event in the craft, the materiality of the culture right from the start, making the instrument accessible.
Okay, so following the hands-on drumming, the music shifts to what sounds like a profound musical fusion.
Yes, with Patrick D. Mabiala and band. They're from DR Congo and Leipzig. Mabiala is described as a distinguished jazz pianist, a Congolese-German musician.
And credited with founding a whole genre, Congo Bop.
That's right, Congo Bop. This is a perfect example of integration in action, musically speaking.
Tell us more about Congo Bop. What defines that fusion, and how does it serve the festival's mission, do you think?
Well, from the description, it sounds like a deliberate, quite complex synthesis. It merges the rich harmonic and improvisational structure of modern jazz, that's the bop element, think bebop,
Okay, yeah.
with deeply rooted African traditions, specifically Congolese musical forms. This fusion speaks directly to the experience of the diaspora, doesn't it? Honoring tradition while innovating within a new German context.
So it's sophisticated, high-level cultural exchange. It demands something from the listener, too.
Exactly. It requires the listener to meet the music halfway, to engage with that blend. It's not passive listening.
Next up on Saturday is the Teacher Oliver Band. They're from Tanzania and Holly Undersell, and the story behind the name is genuinely charming.
It is, isn't it? Oliver, the lead singer, apparently composes the songs and then literally teaches them to his band members, hence Teacher Oliver.
That speaks volumes about the artist as an educator, a cultural transmitter.
It really does. And their music is described as an impressive multilingual tapestry, a blend of reggae, Afrobeat, and traditional influences.
Sung in how many languages?
4 languages: Swahili, Kiao, German, and English.
Wow. Singing in 4 languages simultaneously. That's practically a living mission statement of linguistic and cultural integration right there.
It's a sonic demonstration of pluralism in action. Very powerful.
Okay, as the evening progresses on Saturday, the focus shifts towards Manding roots, but fused with a more internationally recognized sound, the Reggae Manding Band.
Yes, they're from Gambia and Leipzig. But interestingly, they formed over 2 decades ago, back in 2000 in Dresden.
So they have history, and their sound is a blend of...
Traditional West African manding rhythms and classic reggae sound. It's a powerful mixture.
That blend feels strategic, doesn't it?
I think so. Reggae, as a genre, carries its own potent history of resistance, unity, social commentary. By pairing that global sound with the indigenous manding rhythms, they're creating something that speaks both to the specific African experience and to broader, universal themes of justice and peace.
Ensuring broad appeal while maintaining cultural specificity.
Exactly. It bridges cultures through sound.
Now we get to the griot tradition proper with Jalekeba Kuyata. He's from Gambia and Leipzig. For listeners who might need a bit more context, what's the historical weight and significance of a griot?
Ah, yes. The griot is far, far more than just a musician. They belong to an ancient, hereditary caste of artists, singers, dancers, drummers, storytellers. Their traditional duty is the transmission of cultural tradition, history, genealogy.
Like living archives.
Precisely. The living archives of West African history and culture. So Kuyata, as a kora player, singer, and composer, is carrying immense historical responsibility onto that stage.
And he leads his international band, AFRICA, presenting a world music style described as good for both dancing and relaxing.
Right. And his instrument lineup is complex, requires deep skill. The kora itself, balafon, bass guitar, drums, percussion.
The kora, that's the 21-string harp.
That's the one, central to manding music. And Kuyata's connection to the tradition is further highlighted in the source notes. He is the cousin of Sona Jobarta, the very artist they had to postpone.
Ah, interesting connection.
So his presence ensures that even with that financial setback, the festival still features artists with direct lineage and connection to the highest international echelon of manding performance. It maintains that link.
Okay, Saturday is drawing to a close musically with a focus on Senegal, the Diapo Africa Melody Sebar group.
Yes, led by Y.I.L.P by Mariaga. This group concentrates specifically on the Sebar drum and its traditional rhythms.
The Sebar drum, that's unique to Senegal.
Primarily, yes. It's typically played with one hand and one stick, creating a very distinct sound and rhythm. This specific focus adds important regional depth to the lineup. It moves beyond the perhaps more widely known djembe and kora to highlight another specific West African drumming tradition.
And the music is delivered by another griot.
Yes, Y.I.L.P by Mariaga is also a griot drummer, ensuring the evening concludes steeped in deep cultural heritage and tradition.
And finally, Saturday wraps up with a vibrant light dance party.
Keeps the energy going, led by DJ Randy, who's from Nigeria and Leipzig, and DJ Hammer from Gambia and Leipzig.
And the music, a mix.
A broad mix, ensuring that transition from traditional rhythms to contemporary global trends. He lists Afrobeat, dancehall, hip-hop, R&B, reggaeton, salsa, bachata, and merengue.
So it maintains that energy of intercultural exchange right until the very end of the night, a real journey through sound.
Exactly. From workshops to griots to a global dance floor. Hashtag Sunday, November 23rd. Thematic and synthesis.
Okay, moving on to Sunday, November 23rd, it begins again with community participation. Another workshop.
Yes, a percussion workshop, this time focused on children and youth, led by Karaba Sarr. He's from Senegal and Leipzig. But Sarr's biography, it's quite astounding.
It really is. The notes say he's been active in the National Ballet of Senegal since 1978.
Since 1978. Touring the world, Spain, Japan, Canada, mentioned specifically for decades. He brings this incredible legacy of state-level cultural representation
To a simple children's workshop in Leipzig. That accessibility itself is powerful.
It really speaks to Y.I.L.P's core mission, doesn't it? Democratizing access to cultural mastery, making excellence available to the community.
Now, following this workshop, we hit the critical political symposium, which we definitely need to circle back to in detail.
Absolutely, it's central.
But after that serious discussion, the music resumes. And it seems to carry profound thematic resonance, starting with Ensemble Ndungukina.
Yes, they're from DR Congo and Leipzig. And their name, Ndungukina, literally translates to drum and dance in the Kiombe language of Congo.
So the name itself is the mission.
Pretty much. Their performance is rooted, the sources say, in the villages of the Mayombe rainforest in the DRC, places where songs and rhythms are passed down generationally.
And their show is described as fiery.
Fiery, yes. Featuring traditional instruments, djembe, congas, the Doundonstein Bakinkeni bass drums, balafon, but also notably acrobatics, blending Congolese and West African dance styles.
So it's more than a concert, it's a spectacle.
Exactly. That combination of acrobatic performance and traditional rhythms elevates their act. It embodies the physical and spiritual energy of those Mayombe traditions. But here is where the program reaches, I think, a real high point of significance.
Okay.
The inclusion of the group Sengwi Kiaguzon Gagara from Burundi.
Ah, yes, this sounded truly exceptional from the notes. The sources emphasize these drummers are part of the Burundian National Ensemble.
That's correct, making this their first ever guest appearance in Leipzig, according to the material.
What is the historical and political weight of featuring drummers from a national ensemble like that? It feels like more than just music.
Oh, it absolutely is. The Burundian drum tradition is unique. The drum there is an ancient symbol of national unity, even sovereignty. Historically, only the king could authorize the playing of the royal drums. So when a group associated with the national ensemble performs internationally, it's a powerful act of cultural diplomacy. It's a projection of national identity. And this group, founded way back in 1987, spans generations. Members aged 8 to 50 are mentioned. That itself symbolizes continuity.
And the sources connect this directly to the socio-political context of Burundi, don't they? Mentioning the Burundian Civil War.
Yes. They explicitly state that in the wake of the Civil War, the message carried through their rhythm is one of hope, peace, and healing.
That makes their presence in Leipzig profoundly symbolic, then.
Incredibly symbolic. They are using their art, honed through generations and representing national unity after conflict, to bring a message of resilience and peace.
To a German context where just hours before, the political symposium will have warned of deepening polarization and societal friction.
Precisely. The Burundian drum beat, a symbol of national cohesion achieved after trauma, is being shared explicitly to foster unity in a foreign land that is itself struggling with division. It's a deeply resonant choice.
Following that powerful display, the lineup features Ensemble Lanaya. They're from Burkina Faso and Berlin. And Lanaya translates to trust.
Another name reflecting that core credo, yes. They draw on the traditions of the Manding peoples. The Bobo, Bisa, and Siamo are mentioned.
And what's unique about their approach?
Their uniqueness, according to the description, lies in their innovative arrangement. They intentionally cross-pollinate traditions. They bring together instruments that are typically separated by regional customs across Burkina Faso, Mali, Ghana, Ivory Coast.
So they're actively creating a new synthesis.
It seems so. They arrange ancient folk melodies using modern-style elements, casting a new light on traditional songs, whether those songs are powerful, sad, or joyful. This act represents, in a way, the active construction of a pan-African cultural identity that transcends local borders, happening right there on stage.
And finally, Sunday culminates in the grand finale, the open community concert.
Yes, a unifying moment led by the master, Jimbafola Alpha Uler. He's from Guinea Conakry in Leipzig.
Jimbafola. What does that title mean?
It literally means the one who makes the drum speak. It's considered the highest honor for a djembe player. Uler is presented as a massive figure in the tradition.
Trained by masters.
Yes, trained by legendary masters like Famoudou Konaté, and he performed with the Ballet National de la Guinée, a huge depth of experience. And the final hour of the festival, from 9:00 p.m. to 10:00 p.m., is this explicit, open invitation.
For all guests to bring their own instruments. I love that.
Isn't that the ultimate manifestation of the 1,000 drums philosophy? It completely dissolves the line between performer and audience.
It really does. It transforms the professional concert into a collective, spontaneous, community drumming circle.
And Uler, who also teaches djembe weekly in Leipzig, covering Malinke, Suso, and Fula traditions, alongside African history, and dance acts as the unifying conductor for this spontaneous chorus.
So the festival concludes not with a final performance of the audience, but with a collective act by the community.
A collective act of peace and unity, achieved through shared rhythm. A perfect embodiment of the credo.
We absolutely must pivot now, though, because this deep dive isn't purely cultural, is it? The organizing body, Y.I.L.P., has positioned this open symposium as the critical, non-cultural component of the event.
Yes, scheduled right in the heart of Sunday afternoon, smack in the middle.
And this is where the joy, the celebration, seems to consciously give way to necessary civic dialogue, a critical analysis of current German societal friction points.
That shift in tone, right in the middle of the festival, is a statement in itself, I think. It says the commitment to cultural integration cannot and should not be divorced from political reality.
You can't celebrate diversity in a vacuum when the political atmosphere is hostile.
Exactly. And this isn't just a casual chat. This is framed as a high-level discussion featuring distinguished voices that command significant regional and national attention.
The sources name the two speakers. First, Jose Paca from Erfurt. He holds two really significant titles.
Yes, Deputy Chairman of the Federal Immigration and Integration Council, the BZI, and also Deputy Chairman of DEMOST.
DEMOST being
the Federal Council umbrella organization for migrant organizations in East Germany.
Okay, we need to pause and grasp the weight of those roles. The BZI provides federal-level consultation on integration issues, right?
Correct. And DEMOST, representing migrant groups specifically in East Germany, means PACA speaks for a vast network of communities dealing with the unique challenges of integration in the eastern states. His presence confirms the national relevance of this discussion, tying local Leipzig issues directly to federal policy and the Eastern German context.
And alongside him is Miguel Ruiz from Leipzig. He represents the Leipzig Association for Migration, Development, Participation, and Impact.
Right, which grounds the discussion locally in Leipzig while linking it to these broader development and participation efforts. So you have the national Eastern perspective and the local perspective represented.
And the agenda is sharp. Focus on migration, immigration, polarization, with explicit reference to the impending state elections.
A volatile time in German politics, certainly. And the sources provide 5 specific critical discussion points, the referent and Sicherspunkte, they call them, that the speakers will address.
And these points seem like a stark, unflinching commentary on the current political climate. We need to analyze the gravity of each one for you listening.
Agreed. Let's start with the first point. It focuses on new political language, specifically citing the problematic introduction of the term Stadtbild, city image, by the federal chancellor.
Why is that specific term, Stadtbild, considered problematic enough to be a headline critique here? It sounds almost innocuous.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? It's a classic example of coded political rhetoric. Stadtbild, or city image, in this context, refers not really to architecture or parks, but to social visibility.
Meaning who is seen in public spaces.
Exactly. Who is seen and who is implicitly allowed or encouraged to be visible in public spaces. By prioritizing a certain image, politicians risk signaling that certain cultural practices, expressions, or even the mere presence of visible minority communities somehow detracts from the desired look of the city.
So it shifts the discussion from integration towards removal, or at least invisibility.
That's the critique being leveled here, that the use of ostensibly neutral aesthetic language can be used to pursue policies of cultural exclusion or marginalization. It's seen as deeply hostile language.
Okay, the second point tackles the financial reality that directly impacts everything, including YILP's ability to secure those top artists. Budgetary cuts.
Yes. The speakers note widespread budget reductions across the board in migration support, in consultation services, in refugee sectors.
This point is critical because it shows political rhetoric isn't just words. It's matched by financial action.
Precisely. When state municipal budgets for integration, consultation, and refugee support are slashed, organizations like Y.I.L.P. are, essentially, starved of resources. The message conveyed, intended or not, is that integration is a low priority.
A direct assault on the very infrastructure needed to manage intercultural competence and maintain social peace.
And the impact is immediate and tangible. Fewer resources for orientation courses, less help navigating authorities, less money for cultural anchors like this very festival. It connects directly back to those postponed artists.
The third point is, well, it's arguably the most alarming and factually stark in the notes: capacity collapse. The assertion is made that the current actual reception capacities for people genuinely seeking protection are, quote, zero or non-existent.
That is a powerful, almost brutal factual indictment of the current humanitarian infrastructure. To say the capacity for genuine asylum seekers is zero, that's not just bureaucratic language. It implies a systemic and perhaps moral failure.
It means that the system is fundamentally broken, overwhelmed, or maybe deliberately non-functional.
The statement implies any or all of those. For speakers representing integration and migrant organizations, to make such a claim transforms the political symposium from a discussion into, well, a crisis alert. It indicates a state of emergency regarding Germany's humanitarian responsibility.
Moving to the fourth point, we confront the issue of societal shift. The sources state plainly that public opinion is trending back to the right.
Yes, and that this is manifesting as latent xenophobia, Fremdenfeindlichkeit.
A fear of the foreign.
Right, and even more starkly as overt racist resentments, racistisch resentments within society.
This is an essential point for you, the listener, to really internalize, I think. The distinction is important.
It is. Xenophobia is a general fear or dislike of the other. Racist resentments are more deeply ingrained, active hostilities directed towards specific groups based on race or perceived origin. The speakers here are observing, they claim, a quantifiable shift in public discourse and sentiment, moving away from conscious acceptance, perhaps, towards active hostility.
And this rising tide of resentment is what necessitates those strict security and exclusion rules we're going to discuss next, isn't it?
Absolutely. It explains why a cultural festival dedicated to peace and unity must simultaneously be a site of intense democratic vigilance and self-protection.
And finally, the fifth point focuses on the existential threat, as they frame it, the electoral threat. They conclude that the impending state elections open up a perspective before which, quote, democracy must tremble.
Again, that is not hyperbole in this context. It's presented as a profoundly serious warning. In Germany, particularly in the eastern states, the rise of far-right political parties is seen by many, including these speakers, as a direct threat to the pluralistic values enshrined in the Constitution.
Values practiced by organizations like Y.I.L.P.
Exactly. When experts in integration say democracy must tremble, they are expressing a deep, genuine fear that electoral success by extremist elements could lead to policy changes that dismantle the integration sector entirely, marginalize minority communities, and fundamentally alter the civic landscape of Germany.
It's basically the political justification for every single drumbeat of unity we hear planned for the festival.
That's a very poignant way to put it, yes.
And I find it telling, don't you, that the organizers explicitly extended an invitation to media representatives specifically for this public political segment.
Oh, absolutely. They want this message, this warning, this call for vigilance, this articulation of democratic fragility to resonate far beyond the festival gates. It's a calculated move.
They're utilizing the visibility and perhaps the relative safety of the cultural space
To host a conversation that maybe outside those walls might be too sensitive, too politically charged, or too easily shut down. The symposium transforms the Africa Festival from a simple celebration into a space of active, necessary democratic resistance and inquiry.
using the power and credibility of experts to articulate the existential threats facing migrant communities.
And, by extension, German democracy itself. It's a heavy responsibility they're taking on.
Which brings us, inevitably, to this necessary and yet deeply unsettling juxtaposition we keep touching on. The joyous celebration on one hand, and the severe security warnings on the other. The sources include a mandatory notice concerning house rules and exclusion, and reading it, it really crystallizes the necessity of strict security in this modern sociocultural context.
The very existence of this mandatory notice is, well, it's a tragic reflection of the necessity of self-protection, isn't it? It demonstrates that hosting a free public event dedicated to BIPOC integration requires extreme vigilance against targeted harm.
This isn't standard event boilerplate language about no outside food or drink.
Not at all. This reads like a defensive perimeter built against documented specific threats.
Let's detail the explicit mandatory house ban they outline. It shows the organizers are naming and confronting their perceived threats directly, head on.
They are. They explicitly bar stalkers of association numbers.
Personalized threats right there.
And named legally reported hate criminals, people already identified by the justice system.
Okay. But the third banned group is particularly chilling, I thought. Video stalkers.
Yes, described as individuals engaging in illegal secret film, video, or photo recording, thereby violating personal rights and the fundamental right to informational self-determination.
And the sources draw an explicit historical parallel here that, well, it cannot be ignored. They state that this act of secret illegal surveillance is, quote, in the tradition of Stasi Stapo.
That comparison is arguably the most powerful, most loaded political statement in the entire press kit, outside of the symposium itself.
Invoking the Stasi, the East German secret police, and the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police.
By doing that, the organizers are stating unequivocally that the modern threat of targeted online harassment, surveillance often used to dox, intimidate, or discredit organizers and participants, is functionally equivalent in its intent and impact to historical state-sponsored oppression.
It's an incredibly strong claim.
It is. They are asserting their right to create a physical and intellectual space free from that kind of surveillance and intimidation, justifying their extreme exclusion rules as an act of resistance against tactics they see as totalitarian, even if those tactics are now deployed by non-state actors in the digital age.
Beyond those specific individuals, the ban extends to clear ideological threats. Self-declared neo-colonial usurpers,
An interesting term.
Nazis obviously, and members of organized crime. It feels like a comprehensive preemptive act of community self-defense.
It does. And they refuse to allow the event to be exploited for anti-African agendas. The statement is incredibly firm. We are not planning any Leipzig Volkerschau for the pleasure of all such.
We need to unpack that term Volkerschau, people show.
Yes. For listeners who might not know, Volkerschau were these deeply racist historical spectacles, prevalent in the 19th and early 20th centuries, particularly in Germany and other Western countries.
Where indigenous people were basically exhibited like zoo animals.
Essentially, yes. Exhibited to satisfy Western curiosity, often under degrading conditions, reinforcing colonial power structures and racist stereotypes. So by stating emphatically they are not planning a Volkerschau, the organizers are drawing a very sharp line.
They're rejecting any interpretation of their festival as some kind of exotic performance put on merely for the viewing pleasure of the dominant culture.
Exactly. They are asserting ownership and dignity. And the source adds the event is copyright protected against intended appropriation and commercial alienation by anti-African abusers.
So the entire security apparatus exists to ensure the integrity, the safety, and the cultural autonomy of the space, primarily for the diaspora community itself.
It reads as an assertion of dignity and the right to self-determination within their own event.
Now, to withstand these external political pressures and these very real security threats, Y.I.L.P. clearly relies heavily on its community and partner network.
Yes, and that network speaks volumes about its crucial regional and national influence. The sheer number of supporting organizations listed right across Germany is impressive.
It really is. The network seems to solidify their legitimacy and reach. We see partners spanning from AKV and API in Erfurt,
To Afropa and Senegambia in Dresden,
the Afrika Medienzentrum in Berlin, Haus Afrika in Saarbrücken.
and the Kukai Moto Culture Center in Chemnitz. It shows this isn't just an isolated Leipzig event. It is backed by a nationwide coalition of integration and cultural advocacy groups.
Which must give them strength. And the overarching umbrella organization listed is key for their legitimacy, isn't it? The Central Council of the African Community in Germany.
The Zentralrat der Afrikanischen Gemeinde in Deutschland, yes. Securing that relationship, that endorsement, is strategically crucial.
Why is that?
Because it means YILP is recognized as an authoritative voice, contributing to the representation of the broader African community in Germany. It provides political weight, media credibility, and a unified platform when engaging with state institutions or responding to critics.
So this powerful network confirms that YILP's work isn't peripheral. It's central to the national dialogue on migration and integration.
It gives them resilience against accusations of being marginal or somehow unrepresentative. It anchors their work firmly.
Finally, we noted earlier their commitment to organizational transparency and legal integrity. The sources repeatedly stressed this focus on legally righteous execution.
Yes, including detailed documentation, proper accounting, and honoring contractual musician fees.
This commitment, it feels like a quiet but powerful act of resilience in itself.
I agree. In a climate where organizations focused on migration and integration are often under intense scrutiny or even targeted by political opponents, meticulous adherence to legal and financial standard becomes a necessary defense mechanism.
It preempts certain lines of attack.
Precisely. They specifically reference adhering to a performance standard fee, 100 euros per hour or 3/4 hour performance is mentioned. This shows they are running a professional, ethical operation, ensuring artists are compensated fairly according to recognized standards.
Thereby legitimizing the entire cultural enterprise against any potential accusations of impropriety or mismanagement.
Exactly. This dedication to process, to doing things by the book, is as much an act of self-defense and resilience in today's climate as the explicit house ban itself. #tag outro.
So what we have really distilled from these sources today, it's far more than just a festival guide, isn't it? The 7th International Africa Festival in Leipzig feels like cultural diplomacy at its highest and maybe its most courageous level.
I think that's fair. It brings together these world-class performers. You've got drummers associated with the Burundian National Ensemble, pioneering Congo bop jazz, deep griot traditions.
While simultaneously and very deliberately serving as this mandated space for essential democratic vigilance, for asking the hard questions.
And knowing the depth of events like this, for you listening, is absolutely key to being truly well-informed about the realities of integration today. These are not merely concerts. They are critical, proactive acts of integration, yes, but also acts of resistance.
Resistance against what?
Against the rising societal hostility that was so clearly articulated by the symposium speakers. The warnings about budget cuts, capacity collapse, surging xenophobia. Those aren't abstract threats for YILP. They are the lived reality they operate within.
The organizers are creating this vital haven where community can connect, learn, and actively push back against that hostility.
Exactly. And the sources make it crystal clear. YILP chose not to let this festival stagnate, despite what they call the adverse moods and political situations.
They are forcing the celebration to proceed, not despite the political instability perhaps, but almost because of it, as a necessary counterstatement.
Which raises an important and I think final question for reflection, something for you to really mull over long after this deep dive concludes.
Okay.
Well, the festival's unwavering commitment to peace and unity, to the drum that knows no borders, It stands in direct, almost defiant contrast to those political anxieties voiced by the symposium speakers, ones who warned that democracy itself must tremble before the impending election.
A stark contrast indeed.
So considering the organizers' unwavering decision to proceed, and their detailed, almost chilling preparation for security threats, including those Gestapo comparisons, what is the true non-monetary cost? What is the burden of vigilance, the emotional toll, the fear involved in continuing to build and sustain these peaceful, diverse community spaces in a climate where latent xenophobia is actively resurging?
It's a heavy question.
It is. And ultimately, what role does this kind of persistent, culturally rich community building actually play in trying to stabilize a politically precarious future? The drums of peace, as they intend, must beat louder than the rhetoric of division.
But the price of keeping those drums safe
Is profound, and perhaps largely invisible to those outside the immediate struggle.